Most of y'all have visions and ideas that are sent to you, and you're trying to explain it to other people, and because they were never sent the vision, most of y'all say, well, maybe it's not meant to be. That was something that God sent you. That was your vision, your idea. It's not his or not hers. So what ends up happening is your family, your friends, they end up talking you out of your individual experience that you have with God.
Why don't you show the world who you really are? Many of us secretly feel like we have so much less to offer than what people expect. And that even when people compliment us, we figure that the reason that they're complimenting us is because they don't really see us for who we are.
If you take the lead, you will become a target. But just because they're shooting at you doesn't mean they shot you. In fact, some of you should rejoice in the fact that somebody has emptied out their quiver of arrows shooting at you, and you are still here. Watch out for we's, because people will control you with a we, and you will miss your opportunity trying to be loyal to the we, and all of a sudden, in order to fit in your sociological environment, you passed up the promotion, you passed up the position that you wanted to take because you want the people you're sitting beside to like you and accept you.
I think that among the things that prevent us from acting is the fear of failure. And if you've already failed, you don't want to fail again, the pain of that. The fear of loss is another thing. Because many times when we do those things that we know we need to do, we feel that we might lose somebody. Many of us don't act because we want other people's approval, and that's not possible. Many of us don't do the things that we want to do and don't act because of lack of self-confidence. We don't believe enough in ourselves.
The little decisions that you make, they matter. They add up, and you have to connect those dots. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going to end up, and it might be bad.
I just beat me. This ain't about nobody else. I just beat me. If I can keep beating myself, pause, if I can keep doing that, then that means that I'm in a battle with the only person that I really want and beat, and that's me. I don't care about anybody else. I have no worry or gripe about the next man or woman's journey. That's not what I'm up against. If I can continue to outdo me from the day before, then I'm ahead.
What we wish we had done is the voice of regret, speaking in a sorrowful tone at a time when there is no going back. This is regret.
Why do we live our life to be validated so much by strangers? Why do we let these people dictate how we feel about ourselves? Our self-esteem, our worth depends on if they like it or not. Who cares? Those people ain't gonna be there when times get hard. Those people don't even like you. Half of them don't. Those people don't really care about you.
When you're about to make those extreme jumps and leaps, it's always going to be your friends and your family. They will be the first ones to try and talk you out of what God has put on your heart to do.
If you got anything left, you ought to stop right where you are and give God some praise. I made some mistakes, but I got something left. I almost died, but I got something left. Been through a divorce, but I got something left. Had to send my children back home, but I got something left. Moved back here with my mama, but I got something left.
I don't know what kind of odds are against you today, physically, financially. I don't know what kind of storm has come or trying to come into your life. If you wait too long to decide what you're going to do with your life, you'll find out that you've already done it. You have to learn to start where you are. Big doors swing on little hinges.
When you start renaming it and you start reframing it
and you choose to remain in it, what happens is you produce this word. It's called resiliency. The righteous man, he falls 7 times, but he gets back up. I'm choosing today to get back up, to remain in the grind.
We all have these tough moments in life. And see, they can make you or they can break you. Come on now, come on, bring it, come on now. I had to replace fearfulness with being fearless and take the initiative to do something else with my life.
Greatness is not inherited. It's not the result of birth, in other words. You can be born high and live low. Or you can be born low, but you can still live high. Your greatness is not determined by your pedigree or the family that you were born into. Your parents can be great and you can be a dummy.
The key to your future is the successful management of time and change. You can't stop time, so all you can do with them is manage them. And you become what you are based on how you manage both of them.
All the rearview mirror does is allows you to see what you've passed and to prevent what you've passed from coming up on you again. The windshield is your future. It's where you're going. It's where you're headed. I hope you all picked up this today. And think about that, how that affects your life.
Don't dilute the vision and don't pollute it with how you want it. Don't weaken it by diluting it. Don't pollute it by adding to it. Some of the people you're trying to straighten out, they're not going to ever be straightened out. They're chickens when you're supposed to be sailing with the eagles. And that chicken that with all that gawking and flapping ain't going to never fly. And you're just chasing behind something that's not going to ever jump over 4 feet in the air. You could have been soaring with eagles and you're fooling with them chickens. They're chickens. Feed them and keep on walking.
Enlightened self-interest needs to be educated. I will learn that life is not just the passing of time. I will learn that life is the collection of experiences, highs and lows, laughter and tears. You must decide to act. You must have the discipline to act. One discipline affects another discipline. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone.
Every time you learn something new, you push something old out of your brain. See, a lot of people don't want to learn now, and that's okay. That's none of your business, none of my business. But if you're one of those like me, hungry, people that are hungry are willing to learn. You're keeping your mind active because you're engaged in this thing called life. You still have a presence. You're a force to be reckoned with. You have greatness in you. Yes, I'm going for it. There are more lives for me to touch, more lives for me to transform.
If you only knew all the things God has refused to let happen to you. You may have had some bad breaks, but just the fact that you're still here is a sign God's favor is on your life. There may be obstacles trying to stop you now. You don't understand it. It's because there's greatness in you. The enemy doesn't come against people that don't have anything. If you weren't a threat, he'd leave you alone. Yes, I have big obstacles, but I know it's because I have a big destiny. Had some bad breaks, but they could not finish me off. I'm still standing.
Many times when God starts training you, he trains you with trouble, exposing you to various degrees of frustrating situations and then critiquing your response so that you can learn how you should have handled this particular situation.
Step back and ask yourself the question, what do I do that's absolutely amazing? What do I do that's effortless to me? And what makes me feel confident? Figure that out. Whatever that may be, hold on to that and focus in on that and anchor into it. So when you do go into this new skill, realize it's a process, just like the other skills you've learned on your journey. The more you practice something, the better you get at it.
Now do your part. Stay in faith. Don't go around complaining about what didn't work out, what you didn't get. God will make up for what was unfair. He will pay you back for the wrongs that were done. He's a God of justice.
We all get the same amount in a day. Every day is 24 hours. And some people are very, very fruitful and effective, and some people just waste their time day after day after day. And that's a choice that we make. But there's one thing about time. Once it goes by, you never get it back. So how tragic it is to waste any day of your life. I think we need to live every day like it was our very last one, and live it to the absolute fullest that we can live it.
Commit yourself to learning. Feed your mind. Sharpen your interest in two major subjects, life and people. Learn more on how to get the most from life. Learn all that you can so that you can become all that you can become. Learning is the beginning of a life worth living. Learning is the beginning of happiness. Learning is the beginning of spirituality and faith. Learning and searching is where the process of creating your own personal miracle begins.
Greatness does not have to have the approval of everyone. And if you are the kind of person that will have to have the approval of everyone and understanding of everyone, you'll never achieve greatness. Greatness is uncommon. Greatness is not something that you see a lot. It distinguishes you from the crowd. It makes you stick out when you become great.
Disappointments will come. Betrayals, things that are not fair will come. How you deal with these offenses will determine whether you move forward or whether you get stuck, bitter over what didn't work out.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us.
If you have a support system in place, that's beautiful. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't really see what you see, but I'm in full support of you. Go make it happen. But in most cases, if you open up your mouth trying to explain to people what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, they will be the first people to try and talk you out.
Find somebody close enough to you that has observed you or been around you that you value their opinion, and ask them, how do they see you? And then compare what you have with what they say. See, there are things many times that people can see in us that we can't see because it's a blind spot.
If you're always seeking a certain status to validate who you are, you're never going to have peace. You can't climb up to find yourself. You have to find yourself so you can climb up. So you can be who you are before anybody knows who you are.
Our dreams, the lack of sacrifice, the lack of suffering in our lives, its removal, its non-existence also equates to a non-existence of a great life. And so embrace the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice and suffer to some extent. Once you've embraced that it's going to happen, it's almost not that bad. It's kind of like those of you that are fit. You've sort of accepted that before you go to the gym and get there, you're going to have to suffer. And we go anyway. It becomes a habit.
It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable that only long-term disciplined activity can change. It takes the consistent application of a new discipline, a more desirable one, to overcome one which is less desirable. We must unweave every strand of the cable of habits slowly and methodically.
If it does not measure up to my expectations, I'm not going to invest my time. I don't have the luxury to waste time. I'm expecting some great things from life. So examine your expectations versus your wishes. Some people wish they could do better, but some people expect to do better. Where are you on that?
I've learned life is full of wounded people. People that haven't dealt with the negative things in their past. At times they'll be disrespectful. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. How much more could you accomplish if you would start letting things go? How much better relationships would you have if you would get emotionally healthy? If you would let go of what people said?
Time is an amazing power. Every day, week, month, or year is a gift given to us by God to complete a task.
The human mind isn't used merely because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life.
Oh, when you give as much time and energy to your dream, to this new vision of yourself, I'll give you all your eyes can see. When you give as much time and energy to what you see, that creates the opening for miracles to show up.
Do you want to be an outstanding salesman, a better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company, in your community? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality.
Dream chasing isn't for the serious, it's for the sincere. And the difference between being serious and being sincere is that serious people have a can-do attitude. Sincere people have a must-do attitude. That's how dreams become reality. They become a must. My children must survive. My life must change.
Now, if knowledge is power, if knowledge is the forerunner to success, then why do we fall short of our objectives? Do we find ourselves aimlessly wandering, settling for a life of existence rather than a life of substance? There may be many answers to this question. The fundamental answer is the absence of discipline.
Motivate doesn't mean to yell and scream and encourage. To motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why.
Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal.
You know, what would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationship? How would you like to structure your family? Well, how are you going to use your time outside of your job? And how are you going to regulate your mental and physical health, and maybe also your drug and alcohol use?
Typically, discouragement strikes at the midpoint of a project. Halfway up the mountain, you go, I still got to get to the top, and then I got to get all the way back. We get discouraged when something takes longer than I expected.
Once you start becoming aware of the power of thought, just look around you at everything that you see. It all began with a thought. We become what we think about. And that is probably one of the most important principles in learning to manifest. What we have to look at is basically the obstacles that we have conditioned ourselves. And you notice I say that we have conditioned ourselves, because I have never believed that we need to be putting the responsibility on someone else. If you're conditioned, it's because you have allowed yourself to become that.
You know, if you start with the presumption that there's a baseline of suffering in life and that can be exaggerated as a consequence of human failing, as a consequence of malevolence and betrayal and self-betrayal and deceit and all those things that we do to each other and ourselves that we know that aren't good, that amplifies the suffering. But you need something to put up against that. And what you put up against that is meaning. Meaning is actually the instinct that helps you guide yourself through that catastrophe. And most of that meaning is to be found in the adoption of responsibility.
Anticipation is the ultimate advantage. Winners, leaders anticipate, losers react. The reason you get beat is you don't know where things are happening, so you're reacting. Reaction is always stressful. And yet so much of our life is predictable if we just were to study it, not be caught up in our day-to-day. It's predictable the challenges you're going to have in your relationships or with your kids or with your body. These are predictable. And if you were to anticipate these things and put a strategy in place, you can take it all out and have the quality of life that you deserve. Those that anticipate, those that lead, and then there's those that follow. The followers are the reactionaries.
Things that look like they're going to overwhelm you. Remember this phrase. You are stronger than you think. God knew it was coming. He's already put things on the inside that you can't see right now, but at the appointed time, you're going to push back the dirt. You're going to come out of what's holding you back. Not like you were, but you're going to bloom. Don't be fooled by the dirt. The dirt is getting you ready to flourish.
The system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Our world is and always will be a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards and a life of discipline. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. We will pay one or the other.
Somebody said there's some good in the worst of us and some bad in the best of us. I want you to become involved in an active process to get some clutter out of your life. Start working on it. I'm going home tonight to clean my closets. Let's go home. Let that be our task this week.
I wake up every single day. I am who I say I am. And I get what I get because I live in beast mode. Y'all got to do me a favor. Stop being gazelles. You're not average. You were born to be great. You were born to be great. You are a chosen generation. You're not average.
In the beginning, everybody's going to conquer the world. After a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, they start to get tired. They start to get frustrated. They start to ask, why is this so hard? They start to ask, why is this so hard for me? And that's when people quit. When you start feeling that massive frustration, that massive anger, that massive stress, you are about to have a breakthrough. You are about to move through an area that most people can't make it through. You need to have grit. You need to have the stick-to-itiveness to persevere past the point that your competition will. It's the ones who understand that things are going to improve and keep focused on the end result that make it through it.
You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina.
So you got to be willing to grow. Osborne said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. So you've got to decide to grow. See, most people won't try and grow. Now, why wasn't I willing to do that, ladies and gentlemen? Because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to admit the fact that I didn't know something. 85% of people in life allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. Repeat after me, please. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. Absolutely. See, if you know how to do something right, well, it only makes sense to do it right. But see, I wasn't willing to be a businessman badly. See, if you want to make it in life, here's how you can begin to make your goal, ladies and gentlemen. Decide to make your life a great experiment. See, most people want to experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Most people want to be perfect when they come out the gate. Most people want to do things right all the time. You're not going to do everything right. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have a lot of failures. You're going to have a lot of struggles. You're going to feel dumb and ask questions and don't know what to do or where to go. And that's part of growing. That's part of the experimentation process. See, life is about living. Life is about growing. Life is about challenging yourself. Life is about stretching. What if you don't make it? So what? I'm enjoying the trip. Hello. That's what life is about. Say, I want some juice in my life. Say that, please. See, a lot of people going through life and they just dead. How you doing, honey? I'm just trying to make it. Give me a break. No, I want some juice in my life. I mean, it's no in-between for me. I don't want any in-between. They say, even if I go out, I saw this movie called Glory. Say, he went down standing up. You better believe it. So don't, a lot of people have died already. Somebody said that many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. They play it safe. They don't take any chances. Well, as soon as I graduate, or as soon as the bills are paid, as soon as the children grow up, as soon as I get my divorce, all this kind of stuff up in here. No. If there's something you want to do, don't live like you have 1,000 years to live. Decide that you're going to experiment with your life. Decide that you're going to take some chances. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not willing to risk, you're not willing to grow. And if you're not willing to grow, you're not willing to be your best. And if you're not willing to be your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? So think about that. Decide to make your life an experiment. Decide to take some chances and come out into the universe and find out what you're made of. Here's something else. Here's what can change your life. Think about your situation. This is what happened for me. It was a moment of truth for me. Once, if you embrace this, I guarantee you, I don't care if you're in sales, I don't care what kind of business that you're in. You can be in the mortgage business, automobile business, any kind of business. If you embrace this dream that you're thinking about, this goal that you have in your mind, this vision that you have of yourself, if you embrace this, ladies and gentlemen, it will change your life. This is what happened for me. You've got to get to the point where you can say to yourself, this is the key to changing your life. When you say that, I, repeat please, I have had it.
Likewise, our thoughts require discipline. We must set up our inner boundaries, our codes of conduct, or our thoughts will be confused. And with confused thoughts, we'll end up being confused, hopelessly lost in the maze of life. And confused thoughts produce confused results. Look around you at this very moment in time. What might you be doing that needs attention? Perhaps you're on the brink of giving up, or starting over, or starting out. And the only missing ingredient to your incredible success story in the future is a new and self-imposed discipline that will make you stay longer and try harder and work more intensely than you ever thought you possibly could. The most valuable form of discipline is the one that you impose on yourself. Don't wait for things to deteriorate so drastically that someone else must impose discipline into your life. Wouldn't that be tragic? How could you possibly explain the fact that someone else thought more of you than you thought of yourself? That they forced you to get up early and get out into the marketplace when you would have been content to let success go to someone else who cared more about themselves. Your life, my life, the life of each one of us is going to serve as either a warning or an example. A warning of the consequences of neglect, self-pity, lack of direction and ambition, or an example of talent put to use. Here's the third step to becoming consistently self-disciplined. Number one is realizing that discipline isn't the easiest option. Number two, discipline is a full-time activity, day by day, every day. And the third step to becoming self-disciplined is really a philosophy that holds one of life's unique promises. Number three simply says, for every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward. That's one of life's great arrangements. It's like the law of sowing and reaping. In fact, it's an extension of the biblical law that says if you sow well, you reap well. Now here's a unique part of the law of sowing and reaping. Not only does it suggest that we'll all reap what we've sown, it also suggests that we'll reap much more. Life is full of laws that both govern and explain behaviors. But this may well be the major law we need to understand. For every disciplined effort, a multiple reward. For every disciplined effort, a multiple reward. What a concept. If you render unique service, your reward will be multiplied. If you're fair and honest and patient with others, your reward will be multiplied. If you give more than you expect to receive, your reward is more than you expect. But remember, the key word here, as you might well imagine, is discipline. Everything of value requires care and attention. Everything of value requires discipline. Children require discipline. They must have a structure built for them. They must have boundaries to work within so they feel secure and comfortable to explore and grow. They must learn to recognize what's right and what's wrong, what's acceptable behavior, what's not acceptable. Children require unwavering discipline, consistent discipline, or they'll be confused as to how they're supposed to behave.
See, I always wanted to be a speaker and a trainer. I wanted to make an indelible impact in the training industry. But I didn't want to be a businessman. I'm a first-generation entrepreneur in my family. Because I was told I was dumb and stupid most of my life, I unconsciously developed a tremendous phobia about paper. If you say, let's write me a speech, I automatically become nervous. I can't write you a speech, but I can give you a speech. But I can't write you one. I can't tell you the principles of speaking and what it takes, but I can demonstrate it for you. I can show you how to speak, but I can't give you a written explanation for it. I'm not smart like my sister who graduated from the University of Miami, but I have people on my staff with her education that work for me. But I can't write stuff that they write because that's not my area of strength. But so I had a fear. I felt I could not operate a business. And so I wanted to hire a consultant to take care of the details. I had given this consultant power of attorney to sign checks and handle my business. I called my consultant and said, listen, I've thought about this. It's time for me to grow. I've got to be willing to handle my own business. I want to meet with you. I need to develop a working knowledge of this. I've got to stop running from this. I've got to learn, admit my ignorance, and decide it doesn't have to be like this for me. To make a long story short, my consultant canceled 14 meetings with me. And when I finally got my books back and have not seen my consultant to this day, I knew why. That thousands of funds have been embezzled from my account. Now, whatever happened in our lives, we allow it, we permit it, and we promote it. So it was just an education as my career is going up, not coming down, but it's going up. It was just a tuition I had to pay in the universe because I wasn't willing to learn. I wasn't willing to do that. Now, here's something else that's fascinating. I said, okay, see, if you're not willing to grow in life, life will kick your butt until you surrender. So I said, okay, I'm willing to learn. And here's what I discovered. It's not as hard as I thought it would be. It has blown my mind. It's unbelievable. I said, if I had known, here I am, I'll be 45 February the 17th. I've been running from things that I consider difficult. And if I had known it's this simple, I'd been doing it long before.
Some of y'all, you lying to yourself. You say you want to be great. You say you want to get to the next level. You say you want to be a national champion. You say you want a promotion. You say you want to start your own business. You talk too much. Shut up. There's nothing wrong with the opportunity. You're not giving 120. You're giving 70. You're giving 60. You're giving 50. And you want what these people who've given sweat, who's given blood, who's given tears, you want what they paid for, and it ain't free. You said you want to be great. You want to do great things. You want to have great. You want to be great. Listen to me, but on the other hand, you're comfortable with average.
Stop wasting valuable time. Knowing that if we begin to live our lives as if each day were our last, our lives will take on a whole new meaning.
And whatever it is, sports, life, business, whatever it is, health, listen to me very closely. You got to change that mindset.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Self-preparation. Be ready for tomorrow by doing all that you can today, setting your goals. Set a goal that will make you stretch for what it will make of you to achieve it. What a brand new reason for setting goals. What an all-encompassing challenge to have a better vision of the future, to see what it will make of you to achieve it. So there you have the two components of positive self-direction. Number one, self-knowledge, knowing who you are and what you want to do with your life. And number two, self-preparation, getting ready for the opportunities before they come your way. You need both aspects for positive self-direction. Figuring out who you are and what you want. And being prepared for the day you reach your goals. Being ready. Being worthy. Becoming the person you need to be in pursuit of what you want. What good is an opportunity if you're not prepared to take advantage of it? It's no good. Won't do a thing for you. Be prepared. Self-preparation. The benefits are, number one, it moves you toward your goals, and number two, it refuels your ambition. Be prepared. Get ready. This method of self-preparation involves 3 steps. Step 1. Carefully consider where the next opportunity for reaching your goal will originate. Where will it come from? Will it come from networking with your colleagues? Will it come from reading the last book that you bought? The book that's still sitting on your shelf waiting to give you some answers? Will it come from you taking the time to think it out? Where will it come from? The next opportunity that will push you forward. If you don't know, here's what you have to do. For each major goal of yours, the top priorities on your list, for each of these, take out a separate piece of paper, 1 single sheet per major goal, write down your goal at the top, and start listing all reasonable resources. Write down every possible place that you could find the opportunity to achieve this goal. And with each resource, classify them. Ask yourself, is this resource a sure thing? A good bet? About even chances? Unlikely? A long shot? Ask yourself these questions and classify all of the resources you have written down. That's the first step. The second step in this method of self-preparation is to make sure you know what you need to do to be prepared for your opportunities. Go through your entire list of goals and resources and classify them. Break each resource into concrete steps of preparation. Start by working on the sure bets first, and then move down the line. The long shots will come through every so often, but start with the resources that will serve you best now. Get ready for the opportunities before they come your way. Step 3 in the self-preparation method is to do all you can to make each opportunity more likely to happen. After you've determined what you have to do to get ready, to be prepared, after you've determined this, see what you can do to expedite the process. What can you do to increase the likelihood of this opportunity? Go over it and over it and over it. Use these 3 methods again and again as you assess where you are now and where you have to go next to keep moving toward the achievements that are most important to you. Step 1, consider your resources. Step 2, determine what you have to do to get ready. Step 3, expedite the opportunities. And by the way, this method of self-preparation works wherever you are in your journey, whether you're close to your goals or whether you're just starting your journey of self-direction. This method works. Have working knowledge to draw from. Continually work on yourself in preparation of where you want to be. Build a reservoir of thoughts and ideas and philosophies and experiences that are your own. Build, grow, change, get ready, be prepared. Be prepared for a life worth living. Now, here are the 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. Number 1, life is worthwhile if you learn. Nothing worse than being stupid. Life is worthwhile if you learn. Learn from your personal experiences. Learn from other people's experiences. Second, life is worthwhile if you try. Now you've got to take what you've learned and see if you can try your hand at it. Someone says, well, you can't try, you have to do. No, you have to try. I put the bar up 2 feet and ask the kids who can jump 2 feet. I can, some say. I can't, some say. I don't know, some say. How are you going to know? You don't. You've just got to try. Just back off and run at it. How are you going to know if you don't try? Now, what if you knock the bar down? Does that mean you can't jump 2 feet? No. You have to what? Try it again. Of course, you have to try. Try it another way, but try. Try your hand at it. When the record book on you is finished, let it show your wins and your losses, but don't let the record book show that you didn't try.